So you're doing subsea data centers now.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's unique risks with that. Like, how does that even work? Because you'd have to probably run cables all the way down to the bottom of the ocean, wherever the subsea data center is.
Yeah.
And they're probably at risk to some point or some extent of tapping the cables or whatever it might be.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely sort of vulnerabilities. So we already have a lot of power cables subsea. Basically, like 99% of all traffic over the internet is going through a cable, and most of that is going through subsea cables. Where are you based?
Chicago.
Chicago. Yeah, so ours probably isn't. I'm usually in California, but ours probably isn't. But a lot of traffic goes through subsea cables that are already there. And of course, those need power. So everything offshore assets need power. So there's a lot of power cables. There's also a lot of countries export cable. France exports cable power through cable to like Denmark. So we tap into those power cables. And then, of course, the fiber optics are already there. So in terms of like the logistics and the operations, it's actually really easy. In terms of the vulnerabilities, we face the exact same ones that the cables themselves face. The good and the bad of it is, like, if it happens, it's a catastrophe. If a bad actor gets to us, that's not good, obviously. But it's a lot harder to do. You need a ship, you need divers or ROVs. It's expensive, far more expensive than on land. To do a red team on an offshore asset is very expensive. Now, of course, if you're a nation state actor, you're going to be well funded, going to be able to do it, but it's a little bit more traceable because, again, you probably need a ship now. Ships have like AIS, they're identifying tags, and they can be followed, but they can be turned off. So you can turn it off. So then we're relying on sensors of the cables, sensors in the units themselves that sort of let us know, the unit's being raised and we did not authorize that. Like, what do we do? And then you become reliant on satellite. So it's more finicky in some ways, a lot harder to do for us in some ways, but it's a lot harder to do for an adversary. There's no just bad actor who's out there that's going to be able to do it. It's going to be a nation state. And if it's going to be a nation state, they'll do it on land or they'll do it subsea. They'll find a way to do that. So that in and of itself doesn't matter. We hope that it's a lot more difficult for them to do, but it's not possible. And if it can be done, it will be done. So we just have to find different ways to secure. And again, it's sensors, but it's also when we have 20 units, which roughly is about 40 megawatts of compute at a site, then we have a security/maintenance vessel that stays on site. That doesn't mean that there aren't subs that couldn't be detected, but again, if they want to break in and destroy the units, they will be able to do that, but they'll be able to do the same on land. So
Hmm.
it's an interesting little dance that we're all in together, geopolitically speaking.
That's a really good point that you bring up that like if your data centers were to get breached, that's like
Yeah.
the least of the problems that would have occurred to enable that sort of attack,
Yeah.
which I didn't even think about it like that. So that makes a lot of sense. To your end customer then, I mean, it's just probably just connecting over an IP because you
Yeah.
you have network access, so
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just have an IP,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.